Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Journey to Purpose. Today I have the wonderful Faith Sage, who I'm going to let introduce herself because what she does is quite unique. But first question, Faith, where in the world are you? And thank you for being here.
Oh, thank you for having me. I am from Buffalo, Minnesota, the second largest Buffalo.
The one I've heard of is, I think, the one in New York State, right? So yeah, there we go. Yeah, perfect. So you've had quite an amazing, I say amazing in a good and bad way, life, but it's led you to do what you do now, which is around preparing funerals. So let's, first of all, what is it you do around people's funerals? Because that's really, really random. It probably seems random until we know the context of your journey.
Absolutely. So I help people plan their own funeral. Successful, high-end women entrepreneurs take care of that one piece that could unravel everything they've built up to the point that they're at right now.
It's mad. And I mean, obviously there's a market for funerals because at some point we're all going in that direction. But really, what led you to focus on this area?
It led me there after I'd lost my 19-year-old daughter and my 4-year-old granddaughter. Just planning and preparing their funerals left me realizing how much I didn't know about what they wanted. Obviously, they were young. You don't expect a 19-year-old to pass, and definitely not a 4-year-old. But I thought, okay, well, what if I passed, like in the business that I'm building, or my husband or my mom or someone like that? Just the complete and utter chaos that happens when you lose someone, because all you really want to do is grieve their loss. But instead, you have to put the pieces together of their legacy, their puzzle. If they had a business, like, what are the steps that you have to do to like let everyone know that's involved in it? Like, they have customers, they have clients, they have people that are handling this for them. But if they don't even know, it's really hard for them to handle it. Or if they don't have that, like, in peace, that clause in there, like, if I die, do this piece. And a lot of people just, they don't, because they've been so busy building that they haven't thought about that piece. It's always like, I'll get to it. Get it later. I'm too young to deal with it now. I don't have time to deal with it now. It's not in my scope of things to deal with right now because I'm healthy and vibrant and alive right now.
I mean, it's a fascinating thing. And funny enough, I was doing some consulting with another company, and it wasn't on this topic, but a conversation that was had was around, they had a single supplier who had died. And he was, these are scientists with really unique tech. And of course, they had to go through this whole process of basically what to do with the IP, how does it taken over? Because this was the one person in literally in the world who knew how to do this thing, and that he died unexpectedly. And so it does make you wonder. But taking a step further back with obviously your own loss and how you went from planning those things to where you are now, that hasn't been a linear path though, right? I mean, nothing is linear, but
no.
What does it look like for you? Because I think it's important to understand that there is life after loss, maybe?
There's 100% life after loss. I believe, and this has taken me a lot of mindset work to get here, but I've been in the online space since 2016, and you realize real quickly when you jump in the online space how much mindset work you really do need. I thought before I ever jumped in, I don't need any. I know how to do life. Like, we're good. Let's go. And then I jump into business online and I'm like, oh shit, I don't know how to do this. Like, I need help, like, substantially. And so I don't think of things as good or bad. They're things that just are. Now, what I mean by that is if her death hadn't happened, my 19-year-old daughter's, if her death hadn't happened, I wouldn't be in this space. I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't be talking to anyone because it wouldn't have impacted me enough to join into the grief chats. Because that's exactly where I'm at, is talking about death, dying, and loss. Even in planning a funeral, we're still talking about death, dying, and loss, just from a different perspective and a different angle. And so if she hadn't have passed, I wouldn't be here. Did I want her to pass? 100% not. I'd rather not be here than to be here, but this is my path in life. Like, I did lose her. So I have to make the best of the situation as best as I can. And I choose to help other people, and I choose life and love and laughter and all of those things, and to remember her memory and to help others plan the funeral so that their loved ones aren't stressed, when that happens and having to, did I do it right? is that she would have wanted. What did they want for their business going forward? What does their legacy look like? If nobody talks about it, nobody can plan for it. And I just, it gets me very passionate because I'm like, these are conversations that should be in our everyday life, and they're not. Like even talking about death. And when I talked about mindset earlier, I obviously have a mindset coach, and he talks about mindset obviously a lot. And one of the things he told me was, don't fight with reality. And when he said that, I was like, I don't fight with reality. Like, I don't fight with it. He goes, every time you say a parent should never bury their child, you're fighting with reality. Because reality has shown us that multiple parents have buried their children. That's reality. And you're saying it's not, but it is. And I'm like, fine.
My coach is right again.
Right? Even though I didn't want him to be right, he was right. When I accepted that little fact of not fighting with reality, what is reality showing me? Reality is showing me that it does exist.
Yeah.
Fight with it. And so that helped tremendously.
I think it's a really simple message, isn't it? But it's so true. How often do we go, this shouldn't happen, but it does. Okay, so what can we do about the fact that it does happen? And how do we prepare for that?
So I think the biggest thing is just acknowledging that it is happening and removing that from our dictionary, like, this shouldn't have happened, but it did. If it shouldn't have happened, it wouldn't have happened, but it did. So we have to just catch ourselves in those moments when they're saying, well, this shouldn't have happened, when we're literally living in the moment when it did happen, and just acknowledging that it did happen and move forward. Don't leave any, like, for me, it's like, don't be angry and hateful towards it, because when you do that, you block yourself and you're not able to process it or move any direction besides backwards. And so, like, you're going to be angry and you're going to be mad, but don't stay there. Like, of course I was angry off when she left, when we lost her, when we lost our granddaughter, you know, with any loss in our life. But if we stay there, that's a choice.
How did you choose to not stay there? What was there any one thing that made a difference? Was it time? Was it a coach? How did you get unstuck?
So in 2016, when we lost, and she was actually technically my stepdaughter, but I had been with her for 9 years and raised her. We raised our family to be a blended family, brothers and sisters through everything. And when we lost her in 16, I had created this like whole, almost like a video course, if you will, for people to go through that had lost a child or a stepchild. But I shelved it. I had all the content written. I had everything done. I had the back-end platforms all set up. All I had to do was record the videos and push it live. And I halted. I faltered. I stumbled. And I like, don't do this. And I froze in that moment. And I didn't do anything with it. But I wanted to. But I didn't do anything with it. Fast forward to 2021. And we lost her 4-year-old granddaughter. And at that moment in time, I thought, you know what? I'm not going to halt on this message that keeps coming up for me to talk about grief, to talk about loss. And I don't recommend this to anyone, but I literally shut my business down overnight. And I was working with a business coach at the time, and it was going to help me like transcend my business with building sales funnels and doing copywriting and all of that stuff. But I had been questioning whether that was the right move for me at that point in time. And then we lost my granddaughter, and I'm like, boom, everything like flashed in on at once. And I just shut that business down, and I started writing books and talking about grief and just, so I wouldn't say that there was a coach told me to do this or anything. I would just say that my circumstances hit me again for the second time. And I didn't want to shut that voice down again. Instead, I pushed forward with grief and talking about it and writing books and opening up groups and, you know, all kinds of things.
I mean, it's amazing when you think about it, because we do understand why people get lost in their grief, particularly when it's a child or a grandchild, because it is horrible.
From 2016 to 2021, I stayed there. I didn't go anywhere. I was just there. And I wasn't pushing forward in that area. I mean, I had been doing a little bit of work in the grief area, like on myself, not helping anyone else, but like just in myself. But then when 2021 hit, it's like, okay, this is, if you're feeling it, there's other people that are feeling it. Like, this isn't a one-off incident that happened. Like, other people are feeling this, and you have knowledge and skills, help them.
Absolutely. No, it's amazing. And so the funeral planning is quite a new business, right? Last few months.
Yeah.
what obviously you spoke about grief, you had the groups, you did a lot of work. Was there again a particular pivot moment that you went, aha, this is the thing that I can do? Or was it just the combination of your journey?
I think it was the fact that we get it. Like, I got into the grief space. I don't want to say that everyone's in the grief space, because they're not. I mean, not everybody wants to join in the grief space, even though they've lost someone significant to them. But when I was in the grief space, I found it hard to just talk about that because there was so much more that was well known. So I have a lot of business background, and my mother's a genealogist. So, because that's an aspect that I bring into the funeral planning process, is what are you going to leave your family with as well? Like the history of you. And it starts with like your family members and different things like that. And then, your business is your legacy. And then you have these layers, and it wasn't in my mind, it wasn't helping me talk with people or connect with people about grief, because I'm very business oriented as well. And understanding the pieces, like where it came from, like all of that stuff. And it's not good, it's not bad. It's just pieces of a puzzle that are me. And just finding my puzzle to be in. And I'm going to talk about puzzle pieces.
Well, and why not? And as you said, we all going to go there. So why not go there knowing that everything is ready? And so how do you start that process then? What's the conversation that you go, hey, you're going to die one day. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, kind of. So it's pretty much just talking about it. Like, what's going to happen to you when you die? What will happen to your business when you die? What will happen to your kids? Do you want them to be stressed and worried about what you wanted at your funeral? Or do you want to give them instructions and give them like a book? Here you go. This is what I wanted. And take that stress off the plate for them. Or, stick your head in the sand like I used to do with it. Like, I'm not immune to this either. I used to do the same thing. I'm like, oh, they'll deal with it. It's their, and then I realized how much stress and chaos comes with it. And I'm like, okay, well, if I can solve that piece, then they can, find something else to stress over. It won't be me.
Love that. And what was the reaction when you first started doing this from people who knew you? What did people gonna go, okay, Faith, we're going to do funerals now. Are you okay? Was there any of that going on?
No, actually, people supported me. Never reached out to. They were like, this is smart. Like, we know we're going to die, but we haven't gotten this. Or they have a couple pieces to the puzzle done, but they haven't really like fleshed it out, and they don't have it like written down, or they have it up here. But honestly, if, you pass, that doesn't matter, because that goes nowhere.
And so I love this. I don't know why it's so amusing, because it's a very serious thing, but I think I love it because
it's fun too.
It's fun, right? Yeah. I mean, I was just thinking recently for my parents, they're in their 70s. We did their whole power of attorney if anything goes wrong, because I said, look, you're healthy now, but if you're not healthy in the future and you can't make decisions, let's not wait until you're no longer mentally capable to make these decisions. So our family just did that. And again, so they're in their 70s. We've just done it. They've sorted their wills out and everything. But, in fairness, they could have gone earlier. They could hopefully go a lot later. But you are right. We don't think about it. And my husband's introduced me recently to the Swedish death clean. Have you heard of this? He spends too much time on YouTube, that man. But essentially, it is all about getting rid of all the things you don't need before you die. Before you die, as in like, you're not going to die tomorrow, but let's just do it as you go throughout your life, so that when you do die, there's lots of stuff, not lots of stuff to get rid of. And I guess, again, this is kind of a bit of a preemptive Swedish death clean, in that you're just maybe not entering the house, but you're thinking, okay, so what is important, and where does it all go, and how does it work, right?
Yeah. The thought that I get and the feeling that I get is like, okay, this is giving me a breath of fresh air. I'm able to actually live life a little more freely, a little more fully, because I have that component taken care of. I don't have stress about it. Like, in your business, you're so busy doing all the things, right? You have this idea in your mind of where you want your business to be, where you want it to go, what you want it to do, how you want it to impact the world. But as soon as you pass away, all of that will stop, because you're no longer at the helm. And if you're not transitioning your business or writing it down on paper what you want to happen, like, the impact that you've created up to that point will vanish. And then your kids are like, well, we want it to stay going, but we don't know how, because we're not the mastermind behind it, or stuff like that. But the Swedish death clean sounds fascinating.
And I look it up and add it.
Well, I have actually thought about it, because I'm like, I don't want to leave a big disaster for my children, because that's another added stress that they don't need. Like, go through the stuff that you've held on to for 20 years just in case, because that's literally what it is.
Absolutely.
Just in case I die, in case I move, in case some other circumstance in my life dictates I need to get rid of this. What am I holding on to it for?
I mean, it's really
the free space.
It's funny because we started our Swedish death clean about a year and a half ago. I didn't know that's what he was doing, but I don't even know that's the real name, if I'm honest with you. Like, he's told me that's the name of it. I haven't looked it up. It could be just something he made to make it sound cooler. But
I love the name, by the way, regardless if it's what it is or not.
It's the name now. But I think the thing for us was when we got married, we both had 2 houses, and he had like a 2-bedroom house where he lived, and I had a 2-bedroom house. We came together. We bought a 3-bedroom house, but essentially we had like a 4-bedroom house and a 3-bedroom house, right? Because that's all bringing all our stuff together. And so we've been slowly like deduplicating and like getting rid of the old stuff. But the thing I found with it, and we're both fairly tidy people, but the clutter builds. We're both in our 40s. The clutter builds. Before we were together, we both had our own lives, our own houses. Like, it was. And you don't realize. So we've been in this house now for 7 years, and we've only just started this about a year and a half ago, and there's still more to do. And you sit there going, why have I got all this stuff? I don't need it. And if I were to die, it'd be a pain for someone else to clear out. So there we go.
I equal the clutter in my life to complacency.
Right.
And it's when I'm complacent, stuff just builds until it gets to a point where it's like, okay, this isn't good anymore. And I bring it all back down. And then I get complacent in my life and build, and like in one area or another area or whatever, and then you clean it, you declutter it, and you're like, okay, it's good. It's never going to happen again. And then it happens again. And then you're decluttering it all back out. But so it's a continual process. But I love the terminology, like, what do you need in your world right now? What makes you happy in your world right now? Does the clutter make you happy, or is it fulfilling a different need in your life that you haven't yet attacked or yet pinpointed or yet like put a name to it? Because a lot of times the clutter is a reflection of things inside of us that we haven't been willing to deal with or wanted or knew that it existed to even be able to deal with it until it comes to a head.
Absolutely. And what the thing about business that interests me is, I know as a business owner, SOPs are really important, operation procedures, all the rest of it. But how, with the clients you've had so far, are you finding that there's this big gap in terms of, I know that I have to do this, but I've never done it? Or do you find that there's different ideas of what good looks like? How templated can you get with this, I guess, is my question.
You can get a basic template, like, okay, if I die, do X, Y, Z. Like, you can have it as basic as possible as you want, or as complex and intricate as you want. Now, and of course, it's case by case. Like, you can get the basics, like, okay, what is a clean house? That is very subjective to every person, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the same thing with like planning your own funeral. It's very subjective to every person. Like, to some people, it might just be, okay, I know my favorite songs. I know what outfit I want to be buried in, and I want to be cremated, and I want to be sprinkle my ashes down the frickin' Mississippi, right? And that is funeral planning for them. But they're not taking into account, like, okay, what about all your things? What about all of your animals? What about all your possessions, houses, your cars? Where is all of this stuff located? Where is it housed? Where does it go? How do you want to distribute it? Is there a favorite donation place that you like to go to? Or is there one that you absolutely hate? And don't send anything to these people because whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
Because everybody has things in their world that they love or that they hate. And we all have different levels of where we're at, where we want to be, and how we're going to get there. So short story long, it varies.
That makes sense. Like all things.
Everything in life.
Same, but different, I think is the expression.
Yeah.
And so you talked about legacy and the importance of that for so many people. And it's not something I think I consciously think about, but it's come up more as I've built business up and as my parents are getting older. And what is it about legacy that you think is important to get right? Like, what what sort of gap are you filling when you're talking about legacy? How do you help people fulfill their legacy?
Writing it out, the legacy of your business, because I'm dealing with women in business and they've built this business to change and impact the world. But if they haven't really written down where they want their business to go, like after they've transitioned, then the business will go nowhere, or someone's going to take, whoever's going to take over the business, if they don't have clear instructions, is going to now be at the helm and operating this business that may or may not be to your wishes and what you wanted it to stand for at the first place. So just having those clear, like having people in place. So when I think about legacy, I also think from the end and work backward. Because the end goal, if I'm gone, what does my business look like? Where do I want it to head? What do I want it to be? What shape do I want it to take? And who do I want to be running the engine, right? Because if you have the wrong person in the wrong seat, it's going to tank. It's going to go maybe in areas that you don't want it to go in, things that you 150 million% stood against, in different areas. So planning from the end goal in mind backward helps you to adjust the course because you have a target now.
Mm-hmm.
You're literally planning for the moment when you pass, and you're setting your business up so that when you pass, everything was already in alignment for that. Same thing as like when you want to make $1 million, you're setting that goal and you're adjusting your course going backward. Like, how do I get there? It's a big gap between here and there, but how do I make that happen? What do I need at this moment in time to get from here to get to there? And just charting the course and making it happen.
Just the plan.
Make your death happen. Let me clear. I'm like, wait. That's not it. But we're planning because it will come at some point.
That's the thing. I think lots of cultures have different approaches to death. And I think, the US and the UK, we don't talk about it probably as much as other cultures do anyway. Right? But I think it's healthy. As I said, Swedish death clean, as it forever will be known, whether or not it's called that or not, it's helping us out. It helps to declutter. And, as you say, it's a reflection of your mental state. Mm-hmm. What I love about our house now is it takes, we can clean the whole house in like an hour and a half. Each week, like a nice deep clean as well, because we've got so many open spaces and it's so much easier, or we have things like all the books are in the right place, and it does make a difference. And of course, the more you declutter your life, the less you have to stress about.
You do.
And that's why I also love what you're doing, which is basically, it is, as you said, one less thing to stress about. It's done. What about the families of the people you help then? So obviously you've got this amazing women coming to you. They've got really good businesses. Is there a conversation you have to have with those families when you're doing this as well? It's okay, by the way, this is the plan for when they die, or is it not discussed, or again, does it vary?
It varies. As like some people just don't have that type of a communication with their children because their children start freaking out thinking they're going to die or something. They're sick and they just didn't bother to tell them about it or something, And so it's each person. Like, I give guidance and tips on how to approach it with their family members. And then in the kits that they get, there's like instructions. So like you're literally handing them like your end of life Bible, if you will. And they get to, read it, go through it, and incorporate. So I do 4-day retreats, and I incorporate like the ladies get to leave messages or letters for their loved ones for after they've passed, so that maybe they had stuff in their childhood, or, people have amazing things that have happened in their world, and sometimes not so amazing things. And maybe they can't talk about these things, but they could leave them in a letter letting them know like different things that have happened or transitioned in their world. Maybe they had to do something or go somewhere or leave a country or whatever it is. Like, everyone's life is so varied, but they have the option in these retreats to be able to leave either written messages or verbal messages that are only accessed, if they choose, after they've passed. And so that way their loved ones can, kind of get to know them a little bit more afterward that they may not have been able to while they were still alive. If this makes sense, because when we're alive, like, we don't tell our children all of our indiscretions when we were younger. Like, we don't want to shock them because we don't want them to repeat it. And so, but as well as like other family members, like maybe you knew that, because my mom's in genealogy and she does genealogy, so she finds some wild stories. So maybe your parents were not the parents that your kids thought that they were. Maybe you were adopted, but your kids don't know that you were adopted, or vice versa. Maybe your kids don't know that they were adopted, different things, or that maybe you gave a child up before they were born, and maybe you want them to know about that child now. So there's all different types of, stories that can go into this and to let the family members know.
Have you had it yet so they go through this process on your retreat, they write their letters and they go, actually, I want them to know now before I die so we can have the conversation. Has that happened yet?
Yeah. Yes, it's beautiful. It's like opening, because it's all about communication. If you stop and you think about planning your funeral is all about communication. You have to know exactly what you want. Most people don't know what they want. Most people have no clue what they want. They know what they don't want, but they don't know what they do want. And so this is forcing you to concrete, what do I want? Obviously, you can go and change it at any point in time before you pass. You don't have to be, this doesn't have to be, chiseled in concrete. You can change it. But it also facilitates conversations ahead of time. Because one, you're talking about your family, about your passing, which is bringing it to life. Like, okay, this is a possibility, which before is like, you're going to live forever. I just know it. You're going to live forever. And instead, it's like, okay, well, let's have the conversation and remove that fear off the table, not give in to that fear. And so when they start planning this, they're like, okay, I think I want them to know now, because I don't want this to be such a shock or feel like they didn't even know me at all.
Yeah. No, I was thinking that must be it's kind of like a shock to the system, perhaps, when they have that realization of, well, I've been holding on to this and maybe I don't have to, and maybe I don't have to wait till I die, because hopefully I won't die for a long time after doing this retreat.
Right. But also it's, and maybe they're holding on to it because it didn't seem like the right time to say anything, or time had just passed and they're just like, okay, well, it's been like 20 years or 30 years or whatever. And I just didn't realize, because as well as I do, you blink your eyes and it feels like a decade is gone. And sometimes it's just, okay, I should have said something before and I didn't,
Yes. And what would you say to people who kind of go, okay, I get the funeral planning parts because that is a thing that needs to happen, but does it really matter where my stuff goes after I die? Like, I'll be dead, I won't know, or the person, I won't know if you give it to people I don't like because I won't be there to object. What sort of do you say to that?
Well, I think it's more along the lines of, you're not doing it for you're doing it for your family members. Like you mentioned earlier, all the clutter that's left behind, like in a lifetime, like even if you only live 20 years or 30 years, you collect some shit. Like a lot. Oh my gosh, this rock is so important because I found it on the bank of the Mississippi and I'm going to put it here. And then I have a little bottle and I'm talking because, else you have this? And I found the sand. We hit the beaches over here and I'm going to scoop up some sand and I'm going to keep it as a memorial. Kids don't care about that shit. Only I care about that. And so you can put these things and, these things get rid of this, Or if and you're just like, okay, well, let me just dump it in the backyard and we'll have a commingled sand and rock area. It doesn't need to take up space in my house.
No, it does not. We all have those things. I've switched from buying souvenirs to just getting a magnet, but I'm even running out of places for my magnets now. My husband's like, why do you need more magnets? Like, because I've been to this place. I must have a magnet to say that I've been to this place. And he's like, but you don't use them. I'm like, that's not the point. It's a magnet. And I had this big map with all the magnets on it. And he's like, but they don't fit anymore. It's important to me. But no one else will care when I'm gone. No one else. They'll be like, Pippa, why did you have all these magnets? That's what they'll say.
Because I could.
Because I could.
So we have, I thought about that. So we took our first cruise last year and we went to a couple different islands. It's beautiful. It's like you want to commemorate those experiences. One, by the 500 million photos you took that no one can know exactly where you were at, because most beaches all look alike in the broad context spectrum of the world. And two, all the souvenirs that you get. So we decided to not buy a ton of souvenirs. We bought t-shirts that are going to be used and end up being thrown away eventually because they're going to have holes in them, whatever. And so that's just like a usable one. And then we still have the memories and stuff. So we're trying to think, and then we did buy some souvenirs. Don't get me wrong. Because you have to have a shot glass for every country that you visit.
Nice. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, this
is great, but we need a shot glass.
So the worst thing my husband and I have bought is actually from our honeymoon. We went to China for 5 weeks, which was amazing. And we went to see the Terracotta Warriors. If you've heard of them, the Chinese emperor built like basically an army of life-size terracotta warriors. So it's amazing.
Mhm.
We bought the chess set, which is basically the Terracotta Warrior. And not only that is because Xi'an was like our second or third stop on this tour. And so we had to carry this chess set around for like another 4 weeks. And we play it like maybe once a year. And I do like chess, but we just don't play as much as like in my head as I think we play chess. So, and it's amazing, but like it is also totally a souvenir that we did not need, but we have it now.
And it's not to say that you have to get rid of everything, because there will come times when you'll be like, okay, I don't need this anymore. And I don't need this anymore. And this is good to go bye-bye. But this I still want to hold on to because this is amazing to me, or it feels good to me for the moment. But then as you keep progressing, I have an aunt and uncle. My gosh, they've got to be in their 80s. Just the two of them. And they have a daughter that they've adopted. This aunt of mine, her and her husband just purchased like a 8-bedroom house, an old Victorian house.
Wow.
And in their 80s. And their stepdaughter their adoptive daughter is in her 30s. And my aunt has, oh my God, I think she's got 7 or 8 china hutches that are filled with that. And I'm like, how many of these do you use at one time? She goes, oh, I don't use them. They're for looks. I'm like, then why do you have them? The daughter's like, I don't know what to do with those grabs.
My grandparents, they did spoons. So they, I don't know if they still do, but they used to have the spoons with the little coat of arms on the end of them. So when my grandfather finally died, my mum was like, I kind of don't need the spoons. And that was just spoons, right? And which is kind of easier
for me to say that.
Yeah.
I don't want spoons.
But what are you going to do with them? It's a really, I mean, I guess, death is a reflection of planning for your death and the Swedish death clean. It's all about reflecting on the fact you can't take things with you. So why do we have them in this life now? I think, is it Marie Kondo with the, tidy house thing she does it give you pleasure? Like, that's the question.
Yeah.
And I think the answer is, if it does, it's absolutely fine. But if you're just keeping it because you haven't thought about whether or not it gives you pleasure or it has a purpose, maybe we should let it go.
Yes, I 100% agree, because otherwise, so years ago, probably I want to say like 5 years ago, maybe now, we decided that we weren't going to give our kids Christmas presents anymore. We were done with it, because I had been noticing that our kids, we'd give them presents, and so there was a couple things that would happen with this. One, they would put the presents in their house and they would hold on to them because they had sentimental value, because mom and dad gave it to them. Even though they didn't want it, didn't want to use it, didn't want to wear it, didn't want nothing, they couldn't get rid of it because we gave it to them. Or two, it would be given to them and they would, sounds odd to say, but one of my son's cars broke down. And 6 months later, all the Christmas presents were still in the trunk. Now I'm like, okay, one, why are we spending all this money on them? One, we're cluttering up their house. Or two, it's not that big of an important to them that they don't even remember it's in their vehicle. So we decided to stop, and we do experiences now. So we take the whole family, we rent like 2 days or whatever, and get water park passes to a water park around the state.
Amazing.
Drive through. So we create memories as opposed to materialistic items that they could care less about.
Yeah. We're the same, except for we'll accept socks. I'm at an age where I realize how useful socks are.
They are.
And so I get why people get socks. I'm like, no, give me socks. Because I run, I get through my socks so much. So yeah, socks and experiences I accept now as gifts quite happily. But you're right, we don't need the things, and unless it's something like, I went to Venice a few years ago, and I love, on one of the islands, Murano is a glass blowing island. They very sensibly put the glass blowing away from all the wooden buildings. Well done, Venice. But of course it's beautiful artisan work. So my mum loves butterflies. I bought her like a glass butterfly from there, and she loves it. But unless it's something a bit unique like that, so what is the point? And in fact, my mum will always accept anything with a butterfly on it. So I have to be careful that she'll be a butterfly hoarder of ornaments. But we'd rather have experiences. So this year my mum and dad had bought my husband and I like a comedy club hotel evening thing, mystery. So just be a bit of fun. And we bought them like a overnight stay at a winery. It's just making memories, like you say.
Yeah. And then they get to choose whatever it is that they want to clutter their house up with.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just like, oh, I think you should have it here. Don't do anything else with it. Just keep it forever, whether you like it or not, because I thought that you would like it. So I'm being very presumptuous at this moment. Now here, have it. Take it.
Yeah.
So that I'm like, oh, what am I doing?
The one thing my dad still does, which is so cute. So my dad was a minister. He was a vicar, and he used to get a lot of school fetes and church fetes, as ministers do. And there was like a church conference that happened every year over my birthday. So he would always feel guilty for missing my birthday. And he'd always come back and bring me like a soft toy or something. Now, as an adult, he doesn't miss my birthdays, but he still will bring me back soft toys from like random. I'm in my 40s, Dad. I'm cool. But soft toys, and also there's a chocolate brand in the UK called Terry's, and it does chocolate orange. And it's a chocolate orange in the shape of an orange as well. It's amazing. And he always at his house has like a chocolate orange for me just in case. And maybe a soft toy up here as well. When we go around, and my mum's like, she doesn't need them, David, and Dad's like, no, but I know she likes them, so he still does it. It's so cute. I'm like, okay, I'll take the soft toy, I'll give it to my goddaughter or something, but it's cool that he cares.
It is. It's beautiful, but you feel like obligated to take the toy because he went out of his way to give it to you, and you're like, shit, what do I do now?
I've only got so.
I don't want to offend them, and so it's a whole obligation thing. And
Absolutely.
Same thing. It's not that they wanted the stuff, but they took it anyway. Just, otherwise they'll feel guilty.
The weird human experience that we are.
Isn't it wild?
It is crazy. The things we do. This is really fascinating.
I think people have probably been way off course than what you were anticipating.
Look, we're all down with Swedish death claims now. We're all going to plan our funeral. The message is out there. That's all that matters.
All that matters. Swedish death claim and plan your funeral.
That's it. And if people want to find you to plan the funeral or just to learn more about you, how can they find you?
Absolutely. Go to faithsage.net.
Perfect. Very easy. And I have that in the show notes as well. Faith, it's been a lot of fun. Thank you ever so much. And I really wish you well and look forward to planning my funeral at some point.
Oh, perfect. Thank you so much for having me. And thank you for the Swedish death cleaning tip. Because it is brilliant.
I don't need to go and Google if it's actually called that or something else, but I'll let you know.
Perfect. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you.